What's up, YouTube? Sea-Lord here from Team Dank Skull. So I'm gonna be reviewing this new card that's gonna be coming out called Draw of Destiny. So Draw of Destiny is a pretty interesting card. So it's a normal spell, can only activate one per turn, and then if your life points are lower than your opponent's, and your opponent controls a monster that has the highest attack on field, even if tied, which is pretty cool. For the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you cannot set spell / trap cards, and you can only activate card effect one time. Also reveal 3 cards with different names from your deck. If you do, shuffle, then return to the top of the deck, then draw 1 card. So, this is interesting. So, what's pretty cool is that you basically get to choose 3 different cards, and they get stacked on your deck, and then you get to draw 1. The bad part about this is the fact that you can't set any more spell and trap cards, and you can only activate, 1 card effect. I believe there was a change to this text, though, where they cleaned this up a little bit, where it is supposed to say, no, it's pretty clean for the most part. It's just written in a way that's maybe slightly confusing. So basically, after this card resolves, you can only activate 1 card after. So this is kind of one of those cards that you're gonna wait to activate. It's kind of like Cyberload Fusion, where with Cyberload Fusion you do all your attacks and then you activate Cyberload Fusion in the battle phase, and then you get to attack with that monster, but now you can't attack with any more monsters. It's kind of like that, where you activate this when you're done with everything else you're already doing, and you're basically trying to look for extenders or for something to protect you from your opponent. So, like, the cool thing about this is you could take 3 different hand traps, right? You could take an Ash Blossom, you can take a Ghost Ogre, you can take Winter Cherries, you can take Ghost Bell, any of them, right? Take 3 of them. They get randomly put on the top of your deck, and then you draw, and you're guaranteeing yourself a hand trap for the next turn, which is really cool. Like, honestly, if this card were to be used, the only thing I could see it to be used for is, so that way you can add those hand traps for later, so that way on the next turn you have something to respond to your opponent, which really makes this card kind of good. But at the same time, I don't really see this going too far. How do I explain this? It's not something you can do in your opening turn. If you're going first, this card is dead. You can't do it unless you can give your opponent a monster. Which, I guess with Grinder Golem you could do the whole Grinder Golem, then activate this, but it just seems kind of like a waste. In the instances where you go first, this card's a waste. In the instances where you go second, or you're playing a deck that you don't need to play any cards really, like an Exodia deck would love this card, because let's say all you need are 3 pieces, right? So you activate this, you put the 3 pieces, they get shuffled and then they get put on top of the deck, right? And then you draw one of them, and then if you have a card like Reckless Greed face down or something like that, where you get to draw, you draw the last 2 pieces. That's the kind of deck I can see this going for. And they literally put Exodia in the background there. There he is, right there. There's Dark Magician and there's Blackluster Soldier. I'm assuming that's Yugi's hand drawing up the card, where he's doing his Heart of the Cards kind of thing going on. This card's interesting. And it's easy to get your life points lower than your opponent. All you got to do is play Upstart or something like that, where they gain life. Or you play like a Soul Charge. Yeah, you play a Soul Charge, and then you use this since you can't do your battle phase anyways, or something like that. This is one of those cards that's meant to end your turn. It's not meant to extend your turn. It's meant to end your turn. or it's meant to try to get the last card you need in order to go off. So if you're trying to OTK your opponent and you're missing one card, you grab one of the cards that may give it to you, and that's the cool thing about this card is that if you're one card off from finishing the game, it allows you to grab the one card you're off. I mean, will you necessarily get it? You got a 1 in 3 chance of getting that card. But most decks these days, they have more than one combo card. They have more than one extender. Every deck has hand traps, and that's where I can see this card really shining, is to grab hand traps. Honestly, use this. Oh, I need infinite impermanence for next turn. I'm gonna put impermanence on the top. I'm gonna put Ash Blossom on the top. I'm gonna put evenly matched on the top, right? And that's the cool thing about this, because it doesn't say that. You see right here, it just says 3 cards. It doesn't say they have to be any specific type. They don't have to be spell, they don't have to be trap, they don't have to be a monster. It's any 3 cards. So overall, do I see this card getting a lot of use in the meta? I see this card being used more as a card for decks that want to go second, or decks that are like Exodia. This doesn't really work too well in a go first deck, because in a go first deck, your opponent has to somehow get a monster. Now, if you're playing against Altergeist and you play a monster weaker than Multi-Faker, and then they Multi-Faker you, yeah, there's that possibility to get this card to go off, but it's very rare. So this is definitely not a main deck card, unless you're playing one of those decks, like I said before, like Exodia, where you're trying to go off with some kind of win con, Yeah, that's all I can say about this card. Is that right there. Aside from that, there's nothing else. Who knows? Maybe I'll get proven wrong. Maybe I'll be proven right that this card is kind of mediocre. Again, the only good use I can see out of it in a meta deck is to try to get the hand traps, or try to get your last card you need in order to go off. Alright, well, this is Sealord from Team Dank Skull, signing out.